So this video is by no means a proper comprehensive review. I mean, by all means, I think Australia is an amazing country. Want it bad enough, you can make anything work. I hope this doesn't break. What is up, guys? Welcome to this video. So I thought I'd do a recap on how life in Australia is going. I think it's still a bit too early because I'm still having second thoughts, as in I miss Scotland, So this is a decision I decided to take, to move here, give it maybe 1 or 2 years, test out and try out how Australia is. So far it's a mixed feeling. When I was in Scotland, I used to do all these Munros and stuff, which I love doing. There's no replacement for that here. And also the weather. I'm in Queensland, which means pretty much even in winter it's boiling hot. So you have to plan your day out, where if you wanted to go outside and do some hiking and stuff, you have to do it early in the morning or in the afternoon. If you try and do in between, like midday right now, which I came out, it's doable, but the problem is it's roasting hot, like really hot. If you carry around a bag and some gear, you are done. You'll be sweating like crazy. I think I prefer cold to that, because I'm the type of person who actually spends time outside, and I want to go outside. In Australia, especially in Queensland, I think the weather system is different in other states, but in Queensland, where I'm staying, the weather is kind of limiting me from going out. People could say that's an excuse, but I don't think it's just an excuse, because even when it was raining back in Scotland, I still used to go out. Like, I used to go out for photography. And there's another thing, I love taking pictures. So trying to take pictures on a cloudless day like today, which is pretty much every day in Australia, again, I think in Queensland, I don't want to bash the whole Australia, because I know there are other places in Australia there is different different landscape and is amazing. But where I'm now, like right now, there is like every day is a cloudless day, which means landscape photography is out of the question unless you do some sort of sky replacement in Photoshop. I mean, that's not what I want to do. So stuff like that is I'm missing. And also like waterfalls, in Scotland, if I drive like maybe half an hour, I can get to like a spot where there is amazing wildlife, waterfall and all sorts of things. In here it's not the same. Australia is massive, and to get to the best places you have to drive like long. With that being said, I'm not saying there isn't good places where I live. It's just that it's not as easily accessible as back in Scotland. In Scotland I could drive to London in like 6 hours, whereas here if you drive 6 hours, you're still in the city. You have to drive more than 8 hours, like, to even get out of a single state. For me to get to Brisbane from where I am now, which is in the same state, it's more than 8 hours. I mean, that's massive. Sorry guys, I had to move to a different location. Just felt like it was a bit windy up there, and it's windy here as well. It wasn't windy when I found this place, but now it seems windy. Anyway, I think you can still hear me. So back to the point. Yeah, so Australia is amazing if you love the weather. People who from UK come here because they want to get away from that miserable weather, the Scottish miserable weather. For me, it was never really miserable, but it was miserable because I love the cold, I love the rain. But moving here was necessary because when you have another person in your life, you have to make some certain decisions, and with that certain decisions there is sacrifices to be made, and this is one of those things. But by no means I'm not sitting here saying I shouldn't have done it. I think there is a lot more for me to learn from this country, or for being here, or even just trying to live a life in a different country. So That's what I should be aiming at. That's what I'm looking forward to. 2 months is not enough for me to make a strong judgment how the next year is gonna be. But initially, what my thoughts are as is like, I think if you're coming from UK and if you're expecting things that you've done in UK to be done here, especially like in Scotland, people who live in Scotland, they love hiking because there's so many Munros, so many mountains to do. So that's something you can't really do here. I mean, you could, but it's not as easily accessible, and you have to drive quite a long way before you even get to a mountain or whatever. And when you get to that place, those hikes are pretty hard. Whereas I could have done a Munro like Ben Lomond in Scotland. You can do that in one day, right? And you could, and it's pretty easy. As in, like, there's a straightforward path. There isn't much in terms of scary wildlife. In here, that's another thing. Anywhere you go, you need to be careful that you're not going to be bitten by, spiders or snake. Listen, guys, I'm not here trying to bash Australia and trying to demotivate you if you were planning to move here. I mean, by all means, I think Australia is an amazing country if you play your cards right. If you think you can make it, then you probably can. But if you come here with a negative attitude like I did, maybe I did, no, I think I was expecting more. It's probably, what the people say, like, expectation is the killer of happiness, because I think I probably had a very high expectations, especially when it comes to, like, what I wanted to do, like hiking, photography and stuff like that, which is still doable, but it takes a bit more effort than what I could have done and what I was doing back in Scotland. And that's the only negative I'm gonna say right now. Think about it. If you're gonna come here, come here. I wouldn't say you shouldn't move to another country, because regardless, it's gonna change the way you look at life. You're gonna see a completely different culture. That in itself is worth moving. So this is just my, my perspective on this. Probably not the most accurate, and you probably shouldn't listen to this. This is probably like a vlog or diary that I making it probably for myself. Life is kind of hard, and it doesn't matter what path you take or what changes comes into your life. Whatever it is, if you want it bad enough, you can make anything work. And that's what I'm going to be trying to do here.